are really looking forward to having you attend your next visit. Your visit's going to be with one of our providers on the adrenal profile we had you do. So remember all the saliva we had you collect, that endless amounts, all the vials you had to fill up? There's some method behind the madness. Actually, what we're looking at is we want to look at how your adrenals are performing over the course of a full day. And one of the reasons we look at the cortisol is because it's what we consider to be the alpha hormone. So if cortisol levels aren't regulated, it's really difficult for us to get anything else regulated in your body. So the cortisol profile that we're going to go through will give you the right the dietary recommendations. You're going to get those when you come to this visit. You're going to get recommendations of when to exercise, how hard to exercise, and you're going to have some herbal recommendations as well. And Ryan's here to go through kind of what the mechanics of the test look like.
Hi. So as Reagan described, the adrenal stress profile is from your saliva. You're going to get a handout just like this. It's multiple pages. This is the report from that collection. We're going to go step by step through this in your in-person meeting here in the clinic. But first we wanted to go through and see, so you can look in your patient guide at home and follow along, so you are pre-educated as to what this means and then how yours personally pertains to you. Okay? So if we look on here, the first thing we're going to do is the adrenal stress index. Now there's a graph here on the right hand side. There's a green kind of slope that goes from high to low. Along this graph you've got free cortisol level on the left and then the time of day on the bottom. The green is your ideal level. So in the morning you'd like your cortisol to raise up, be excreted so you can get out of bed and have motivation for your day. Throughout the day the cortisol gently kind of calms down, goes down a slope here. There's a blue line on this graph. That blue line is you. It's your collection points throughout the day. So you can see throughout the day there's different plotted points. Now what this shows us is how much cortisol you're producing at that point of the day. Some people have less cortisol in the morning when they should have more. Some people have a lot of cortisol in the morning when they should have a little bit less. And it also shows that at night sometimes the cortisol spikes when it should be going down when we're getting ready for rest. So how we can use this information is I can say, okay, well, your cortisol is a little bit low here in the AM, so what we want to do is do your exercise at that point. We'll describe more of this in our in-person meeting, but that shows us when you're going to be exercising. We usually want you to exercise an hour before your lowest cortisol point, so we can naturally boost it up. So we're telling the body, this is when we want you to produce cortisol. And then there are times at night when the cortisol is really high, like in this patient here, this graph. So that's when we want to implement more calming techniques, because toward the later part of the day is when you want to be rested. You don't want to be ramped up at night. So we used certain food supplements, certain herbal supplements to help calm the body, as well as meditation and breathing techniques. Okay, we're going to move on to the next page now here. Anything you want to add, Ricken?
No, I think it's really important you can review this video and then look at your adrenal labs. And we always tell you don't eat sugar in the morning because your cortisol levels, they're already high, and whenever your cortisol levels are high, your body won't take sugar in. The insulin receptor sites become resistant. So keep that in mind as you review this.
Yeah. On the second page here we'll go over DHEA. DHEA is I like to describe it as a precursor hormone for your sex hormones. So that includes estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. And those all plays into how much cortisol is being produced and how your adrenal function works overall. There's a reference range here in this graph, and there's a plot, and they pulled this plot number from your saliva. So this one is slightly depressed, so that's showing us that the adrenal function is maybe a little bit low. So we also want to take in the measures to increase the DHEA in the body, therefore increasing different hormones that are produced in the body naturally. Next section here on the bottom, you've got some more graphs. This testing your insulin level in the saliva. So this is a reference range both for fasting and non-fasting. So this person's fasting, was a little bit high. So that shows us some good information. There's some insulin resistance happening in this patient. There may be some in you as well. Sometimes it's a little low. We can predict that your body's becoming insulin resistant. So we can put measures in, whether it's food recommendations, lifestyle recommendations, to prevent the body from getting into insulin resistance. Because it's always harder to get out once you're in. Also on this next page we'll go over there's total salivary IgA. The IgA is an immunoglobulin response that shows the first level of immune defense that the body produces. So if there is a good level, high level of immune response in the saliva, that's a note to us and to you saying that the body is fighting something. You know, there's always a little battle going on, which we want to keep a little lower. You don't want to always be in a battle state. The last part of this test refers to the gluten IgA, so it's gliadin IgA that is found in the saliva as well. So this patient here is a little bit high, you know, so there's some reactivity to gluten, and this is again a first level response. So it's showing up in the saliva first, and it shows us that we may want to have this patient stop their gluten intake for a little while, maybe a month or 2 months, and see how their body responds.
Beautiful. So hopefully this gives you a good outline of what we're going to cover. Just some very fundamental basics when you're looking at keeping your adrenals healthy. First thing is try breathing. Keep your stress levels as low as you can. Of course, we're always going to have stress in life, but make sure that you're having more fun, you're breathing more, you're just experiencing everything that's coming in, you're not resisting some of those circumstances you don't like. Second thing is add more fats. If you're drinking coffee in the morning, make sure that you're doing either bulletproof coffee or putting some type of fats in your coffee, or eating fats like eating an avocado with your cup of coffee. The stimulant factors in coffee or tea or nicotine from cigarettes, that really starts to diminish your adrenal glands over time. So make sure you're getting good fats. We recommend getting about 30 to 40 grams of fat first thing in the morning. The third thing that you want to look at is make sure that you're getting some type of vegetable in the morning. The potassium in the vegetables, it creates your blood vessels to open up, so it creates a nice environment for your body to relax more. And then I think the final thing is add some sea salt to your water. If your adrenals are low, if you're waking up very tired, it means you probably need more minerals. So hopefully you got a good understanding of this. Your adrenal glands do need to be stabilized if we're correcting any autoimmunity, if we're trying to stabilize other hormones in your body. So this becomes one of the key lifestyle components that you're going to want to make changes with right out of the gates. And we can't wait to see you for your appointment, because then we can really dial in exactly what you need.